somebody, he rapes them. The proportionality over that.
Right. Remember, proportionality isn't given by Estoppel.
Mm-hmm.
So once we have that, right, like that's a very like economical principle, you know, just like proportionality isn't given by Estoppel. It doesn't give you Estoppel, and you get a lot of problems when you try to make it give you Estoppel. I make it give you proportionality. I mean,
So then, like, one of these people, they got raped by Bill Cosby, and then they're just like, God damn it, man, I think I just, like, my asshole hurts. I'm gonna go to court. And and then, they're going up to arbitration, and they're like, this Bill Cosby fellow, I don't know if you heard of him, but he, slipped fucking Molly in my margarita and butt fucked me. And then, okay, I guess Bill Cosby's gay now, but this little boy, he provides all this evidence here of intent. And I presume that if we were to take this case, if we were to assume that little boy over here were fully conscious during the rape, that he would not. I mean, obviously he did not consent to that. And then if you were to try to resist, we can't determine whether Bill Cosby would have like killed him or not. Is Bill Cosby able to just like come up there and be like, yeah, I'm like a nice guy, and everybody knows I'm a real good guy. I would never kill anybody. I
no, like
it's just
He has
like
evidence.
where's yeah. I mean, like, if there's like, is there any kind of evidence where we can just say that, like, this person, oh, he's such a, like, you'll have all these moms that'll be like, oh, like, George is such a sweet boy, he would never kill
well, I
anybody,
wouldn't
even if it's
say
wife.
I wouldn't I wouldn't I would say the onus is not on me, right? Like, is there any kind of evidence? You tell me,
Yes. I mean, if like,
Could I
like, what
interject,
is it?
Stratino?
What evidence? What is it?
Could I interject and maybe give an example that I think I helped, like, I could see actually happening would be like, if we're talking about rape, if you have a 30-year-old raping a younger woman or whatever, he's obviously doing it against her will, and he would probably kill her, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
even if he didn't
Well, it's
kill
not
her,
even like,
but
we don't even have to say like
yeah,
he would probably kill her, right? It's like
right, but
the whole point, right? Like I explained this all when I first explained why rape is like the punishment is death. The whole point is like that. If they resist, like, I'm struggling to find the words because I'm struggling to remember how exactly I put it. You know what I mean?
right. But the point I was trying to make is, if an 18-year-old rapes a 17-year-old and they're in college and they're both drunk, that's a little different.
I mean, their age doesn't really matter.
Well, no, that is all evidence. Their mental state does matter, because the 18-year-old
Their mental state is
probably
not determined by their age.
I agree. I never said that.
So then
I'm just
why
saying,
is the age important to the mental state?
age is absolutely important to mental state. I mean,
no,
yeah,
not, it's like, there's like a correlation there, but
Right.
we can't work off of a correlation.
I agree, but we're
Yeah.
working off. I agree. Like, I'm not saying, mental state and age are the same thing or work together. Like, but there is an 18-year-old, and
You're
it was
just saying the typical
yeah,
18-year-old.
the typical 18-year-old rapes a 17-year-old at a party in college. Was he going to kill her? Was he or was this just a,
Well, can you determine what evidence can you point to determine that if she fully resisted, that she would not be killed?
Yeah, I was about to mention, if it's like a college frat party and this girl is like getting drunk and this guy is drunk and they're just like fucking, then like I don't even know how she would be able to provide the case that was rape. They
Well,
were just both
I
intoxicated.
agree.
not just that. I'm like, I assume he's talking about like actual like rape, you know? I
I
assume he's talking about like
it,
she got drugged, you know, like
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
like
see.
somebody who very obviously wouldn't be willing to engage in
or she's just
sexual
yeah,
action,
yeah.
and then
no,
I see.
she gets drunk, and then she's like kind of intoxicated, so she's
yeah.
like lenient.
I'm thinking more like the boy got mixed signals.
Well, Nye has a good like. There's a Nye rape chart. You know what I mean? Stratino.
Yeah,
Not good.
Nye's rape chart is actually decent. You know?
That's
Rape
crazy.
chart.
Something that
Rape
Nice actually
chart.
contributed that was, you know. I feel like Nine's original guardianship essay was not even that bad. It just seems like he's come to like change his mind about it a lot.
No, yeah, he's just fucking. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that.
But
Have
so
you
what I was
read the
gonna mention.
discussion I had with him on that? Like the fucking debate I had with him on that?
Yeah, we were gonna go over that, but I don't think we had ever done so. I'm sure I probably
Yeah, we
could.
should.
Yeah.
We should do that. We should go over that.
But one
Let's finish up
example,
this discussion and then go to that if you're done.
sure. The one thing I was gonna bring up though is let's imagine like Stephen Hawking and like Stephen Hawking completely paraplegic. He doesn't have like the means to be able to murder anybody, and he like he gets his he gets his robocock and he sticks it up her ass.
Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
mean, he doesn't have the ability to murder this person, but
I don't
he's
even know if he
able
would
to
have the ability to
merely.
rape somebody, really.
I mean, how do you determine that a priori? You know, like that
No,
he can't kill them. You know, like
I mean, like if we were to get like a fucking ballistic dummy over here, and then Stephen Hawking's trying to like, uh,
yeah, that's evidence. You know, you're like this is what they would
Yeah,
bring to the defense would start. You know, pointing to stuff
yeah.
like that.
Or I guess Stephen Hawking
no,
would probably pay somebody to kill somebody, right?
so true.
Yeah.
Or we get
Yeah, he
like
could do that.
some
He's a
stupid.
fucking like, and then the plaintiff would be like, "Well, this guy's fucking rich, you know. He's gonna, yeah, you know, he's not gonna let his reputation be tarnished by this, right? He's gonna fucking kill her.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe Stephen Hawking goes on like fucking those like betting sites, and then he's like, I bet
Like, and
two thousand
we have
dollars
these
that.
like chat logs where he's like saying like, "I'll kill any bitch," you know, like,
Oh,
like this is all evidence, right? We have to look at the evidence, right? Not just try and say like this is like the a
mhm,
priori criteria that determines it, you know?
That
mhm.
evidence.
So there are cases of rape in which there is, you know, punishment. Then,
Right. It's like yeah, like and evidence must answer to evidence, right? So it wouldn't be
mhm,
that often, I think, right? That like rape
yeah,
would just be like death, death penalty immediately, right?
hmm
They're likely because I mean I mean unless the defendant is just like they're just like okay, you know,
Yeah, I
I'm not
raped
gonna
that
present
bitch and I
any,
enjoyed it.
I'm not gonna argue with that, you know. But
I
if
see.
we do argue, like we'll eventually come to the best conclusion there.
I see. All right.
Trust
Um,
the
It might not be that
evidence.
often, you know,
Trust the evidence.
because think
mm,
about it. Also, it's those cases where death is, we had the maximum punishment here, right? It's those cases
mhm,
where like those agreements happen, right, where they go for the lesser punishment, you
mhm,
know.
mhm. And by the way, when you say that mens rea gives you the punishment norm, you
Yeah.
don't mean that it gives you restitution as well, because you're owed restitution even without mens rea.
Right.
You're talking about specifically a retribution norm.
There's a ongoing conflict until restitution, is effective.
Yes. And so far as I had like been concerned, after that, that was the end of the conflict, and then there was nothing else for us to look at.
Yeah, there's still this
Um,
punishment norm, you know?
mhm.
There's this fact, right? If we don't address it, right? Like we remember we have to be proactive about it, you know? Even the defendant wants to fucking address it and exhaust the evidence. Like and we were going to this like how the car thief, it would probably be like, yep, this is exactly where I was, what I was doing, like I broke into that car, this is where I put it, I took it over here and I was breaking in cars all week, man. You should contact the owners. Because
um,
if they leave any holes open, right, any holes at all, right? If they suppress any evidence, because any evidence that they know about, right, pertaining to
Mhm.
means, motive, and opportunity, if they pertain any evidence that they know about, I mean, if they suppress it, right, then those
Mhm.
are holes that can be, somebody else can homestead, the punishment, right, and then
Mhm.
they can get double restitution off backs, no matter what, just double restitution.
And so I was arguing with
And that, what do you think about that? The like double restitution as the baseline.
double restitution as the baseline,
Yeah.
or
If you just have, if you have mens rea, like double
well,
restitution is the baseline
duh,
proportionality.
it would have to be because
You can
you
point to
have
it.
mens rea. Yes, you have to be able to point to it, and then I
You
think
can
that it's
point to
that.
restitution. Like you can point to it in every case, because like it has to be the case that they're like we have to deal with restitution. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we
That
point we,
that
we point to what the actions were that restituted, the victim, right? And that's like, so that's what we can use as a standard, right? As a metric for, proportionality here, right?
Mhm.
So we can just use that in every single case, right? We can use that as a baseline as long as you have something to bring to arbitration, right? There's mens rea, right? Then you
Mhm.
can get double restitution. Even if you and this is even after the fact, like if they fucking steal your car, right, and then you go and get beers with them, right? You don't consider all the relevant evidence. You know what I mean? You don't exhaust the evidence, right? You just go get beers with the guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's going to be like they won't accept that, right? The defendant, they won't want to accept that. They will want to proceed with the arbitration and take the punishment, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because if they leave any holes open, where like, remember, we haven't arrived at this conclusion that's undefeatable, that can't, like any other claims would have to, bring in evidence of their own that's stronger, but there is no evidence that's stronger, right? We haven't got there yet. So
Mhm.
somebody else can homestead the punishment right, the
I
punishment norm,
think.
or the right to affect it.
Mhm.
Because they've just abandoned it effectively.
I think that the only thing um that I do not understand, if somebody were to um ask me, and we'll take like any of these scenarios where we have definite mens rea, and that's something perceptible there, where you perceive that there's an intent there. Um, if someone were to ask me, uh, where in that mens rea does the punishment norm arise, I would not be able to fucking tell them, and that's been the issue that I've been grappling with for
Well,
years.
did I kind of answer that?
Um,
Shit.
I don't feel like it's fully fleshed out. Like I don't. I
Well, it's
remember you talking about that.
remember, it's an empirical question. That's like what I'm
Mhm.
saying. You know.
Mhm.
Well, the punishment
It's
norm, not the punishment norm is not like, I mean the proportionality aspect, and don't try to make Estoppel give you proportionality. So we just say we don't particularize the punishment norm at all. It's just whatever is determined to be the proportional punishment, right? That's just Estoppel. That's what it justifies. You know.
mhm. And
And the
I'm
question of proportionality there is an empirical question.
mhm. But before proportionality. We're not at proportionality yet. This guy intentionally initiates a conflict. He has mens rea. It's just like, where does the punishment norm come from that?
Remember,
Like,
it's an
where does
invariant.
this like?
It's an invariant. You know, like just it preserves truth. You know what I mean? Like like if we're looking at it formally, right, and we say truth is, you know, whatever, you know, preserves this symmetry, preserves this invariant, right, preserves this fact, right, then any operations, right, that preserve that fact, right, are, you know, admissible, right? You can't, like, because then you'd just be evading the facts, right?
Because
And
I was
remember, you know, the
arguing.
arbitrary can't stand up to, you know, the non-arbitrary, right? There's no basis to prefer the arbitrary over the non-arbitrary, the less or no evidence over more like evidence, you know, the stronger evidence.
Mhm. If I go back to the argument that I was having with what the fuck is his name? I can never pronounce it. It's just He was a two girls NCAP. If I go all the way back to the argument that I was having about it, because I had asked you the question, and you had mentioned uh
Like they
biological
can't bring
estoppel.
any evidence, like the defendant, they can't bring any evidence, they can't bring any claims that would contradict the fact of mens rea, right? They can't, like anything they bring would have to preserve that fact, right?
Mm.
It has to be consistent with that fact, with their intention.
And so if I let me find this because I remember Doug chimed in and then he like kind
Evidence
of
of the
derailed.
case, remember, evidence of the case. So it has to be consistent with the mens rea. That's a fact of the case, you know? The evidence has to be
Mr.
coherent,
fucking
all the
Todd.
evidence, right?
Mhm. So I I go back here. He says
And we don't
God.
start from no evidence. We have a prima facie case, so they have to bring some evidence. Uh,
Mhm.
or if they don't bring any evidence, then you know we can just say whatever. We can do whatever.
Mhm. Um
But then you
so
know their next of kin or whatever is gonna bring some evidence. You know they're gonna be like, "Oh, you fucking murdered this guy
I was
for
asking
stealing
for
your
the
car."
I remember the initial issue that I had brought up because I had linked a message is that I was asking for the positive position on which, you know, we inf have a punishment norm at all. And you're saying that I think the positive case is the aggression that they committed. This is their position. They have demonstrated it, and they don't get to evade it. And then I
Right.
had
We
asked,
have
what
a prima
is?
facie case. We've established
Mhm,
that much. We don't start from no evidence.
mhm. And then I had asked, what is their position exactly? And he said their actions at the very least. And I said, sure, but surely it isn't that they
Well,
should own your arm. Or
yeah. Well,
it's
that's
surely
not
that.
what I just said. I a little bit more nuanced. Like it's literally like you know what I just said. Fuck.
That we have a prima facie case.
What I said just before the.
Oh fuck, because that was what I had relevantly
It was
asked
on the
for.
tip of my tongue, and then I fucking forgot it.
Oof.
Okay, just keep going, and I'll remember it.
All right. Um, I had said sure, but surely it's just that their position is like. I think I had I brought up an example. Um, I had said so. He had said, "Say John kills my dog."
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
Arbitration.
I remember. I said it was. It's. We're talking about the facts of the case, right? The evidence
Mhm,
relevant to the case, right? So we're not
mhm,
talking about whatever their intentions are now, or whatever,
mhm,
right? We're talking about the case. We're trying to exhaust the evidence of the case, right?
mhm,
So anything that we bring to the table, I mean, it can't be inconsistent with the fact of mens rea, which is you know, it's a fact of the case,
mhm.
right? That's what we're arbitrating
Oh,
over.
I see. So he said, "Say John kills my
Right
dog."
back.
Arbitration rules that his mens rea was indeed killing my dog. John demonstrated that his position is that a man should have his dog
Well,
killed.
that's already particularizing the punishment norm. I mean, like, if you're trying to say that's the punishment norm, you know?
Mm. Which
Like,
is,
that's
it's
not the
kind of
punishment norm, to be sure. Like, it's just the
sure.
fact of mens rea. You know, the invariance, right?
Mhm. Um, if I go over here, I was like, I think that's just the main issue. It's difficult to like, I understand that this mens rea is an invariant, but what about mens rea as an invariant or as an invariancy? Mens rea as
It's
a
an
fact
invariant.
here.
It's an invariant fact of the case. Every single other fact of the case, right?
Mhm.
It runs through it. Like, it can't be, you know, inconsistent with the fact of mens rea.
Mhm.
You know,
But
that's just what I mean.
what about this invariant fact demands punishment? Like his, what about,
Well, it's just that
this
we
intention?
can't bring anything to the table that's inconsistent with that fact. You can't, like, deny that fact. You know.
Hmm. And I agree with that. But what about that fact elucidates a punishment norm?
Like, what do you mean? The punishment norm is just whatever is determined to be the proportional punishment is justified.
Yes, like how do we just even have this just punishment as a concept here? And that
Right.
I'm talking about retribution specifically, not just restitution. Retribution in particular, because there's
Well, it's because
I
they can't argue against it, remember? But it's in arbitration. They can't argue against it.
they can't provide any
Yeah,
counter.
yeah.
Um,
That, like, I shouldn't be able to fucking do this, you know?
mhm. And
So in effect, they consent to it, you know, because they have no basis for preferring the alternative. Nobody does. We have no basis for siding with the alternative claim at all.
mhm. And the
Mm.
it's not particularized. What we're claiming here is just that there is a punishment norm at all. So if I just say like this guy intended to have this guy had mens rea, he intended to do this, there is a punishment norm there, and he cannot argue against that. And that is what the estoppel is.
Estoppel is just the preference for consistent over inconsistent claims, I think.
Hmm. And I understand that. I just God, it's so fucking difficult to get because like
Because it's through the process. Because if we don't start with exactly, it's might start vague. Like, we don't have a very like good idea of exactly what the proportional punishment should be, you know.
Mhm.
And it's through this process of arbitration that we arrive at that we get to this, you know, like the most objective answer to that, you know. So,
Mhm.
like, there's no arguing with it, you know. There's no alternative that somebody can just come along, right, and say like, no, I think it should be this way. You know what I mean? They have no basis for
Mhm.
saying that. Nobody does.
Mhm. So
But it's like it crystallizes. You know what I mean? As the evidence accumulates from both sides, what
mhm.
exactly the punishment should be, and at the end, it's completely unambiguous. There's no ambiguity whatsoever as to what the punishment should be.
See, I think that is the real difficulty is that you have to have a crazy sharp epistemology in order to understand arbitration. Like there's nothing that Rothbard can do there to elucidate it for you with, Crusoe and Friday. Like man economy and state, I doubt would even be able to
Yeah, I
cover
don't know. I
arbitration.
guess I'm just like the only one who could have said that. You know, who came to that. conclusion.
Fucking maybe, because this is still out of my wheelhouse. I'll be honest. Like I'm getting to the upper limits here of what I get. So I guess like arbitration is gonna be my next fucking endeavor.
Well, like,
It's
do you
I'll
understand
say
what I
this.
just, like, how I just explained it? You know, right?
I think the
Like,
thing is
just what I
everything.
explained right now. Like,
It's easy to follow, but it's hard to integrate. I
like I like
haven't
it's
really
best, like,
integrated
because
it.
we're discussing it. You know, you can help refine your understanding of it if you like try and articulate it. You know,
Yes.
yourself.
So I understand that. I understand everything but the foundation. So I understand that estoppel is, preferential treatment of consistent claims over inconsistent claims. And I understand
Right.
that.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay, the problem is, right, like I've been circling around this, right? It's like
Mhm,
the foundation is not fixed in advance. It can't be. It has to be continuous, like throughout the whole, process, really, of
mhm,
this evidentiary reasoning,
mhm.
It
So
has to be continuous to the whole thing, right? It can't be fixed in
explain that.
advance. And I think that's like where you're looking for a foundation, like it must be fixed in advance, you know what I mean? Instead of, like the ground is below my feet as I'm walking, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not the same ground, right? Like, it's just, I mean, it's the same ground, but like it's continuous with me walking, like my walking, right? I don't walk in the same
Mhm,
place, right?
mhm. I actually explain that because you might be onto something there.
Well, basically, like any steps you take, the ground is going to be right there below your feet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you can trace those steps. You know what I mean? Because they're all on the ground, the same ground, in the same world. You know,
Hmm. And
and it remains
I think.
grounded at every step. You know,
Mhm,
but like we don't consider what's the grounding like of this step, right? Irrespective of the step, right?
mhm. Um. So. Hmm. Fuck. This is like. God, why isn't this what we're fucking talking about in the libertarian circles? Why is this never what they're fucking talking about? It's always like,
I don't know, because like
I,
I integrate it all, like with ontology and epistemology and like everything I'm doing there. You know?
hmm, like it's because like I'm trying to
Maybe just
understand
give it to
this.
Zulu so he can fucking fix his shit, bro.
Dude, Zulu's not gonna listen. Zulu's gonna be like some young boy said that who one time like fibbed about his age. Invalid. But um, I think that so. What I will give you the perspective, whether it's fallacious or not, I have no clue, but it'll certainly elucidate on where I am standing, the standing ground that I'm on, trying to understand this. So, like, the way that I'm looking at it is like there has to be some sort of like foundation for this punishment norm thing. Like, there has to be some sort of point at which like a punishment norm comes into
Well,
the.
remember, nothing happens unless you affect the punishment norm. Nothing happens,
Mhm.
right? That was like the first point we got.
Yeah, yes, but does that mean that it's not a good in that instance? That it like, if
Well,
we just don't act on it and nobody's acting on it, does it disappear? What goes on? Like, is it when we go to arbitration that we're
if
like.
if we can take the steps that preserve the invariant, right? The invariance there, right? then we can take it to arbitration. That's what the whole thing. That's what
Take-
like what Estoppel is doing. You know what mens rea is doing. We're preferring the consistent claims over the inconsistent claims because those track the symmetry.
So, is arbitration a means of preserving the invariancy of the punishment norm?
Yeah, but also like it's like through that way that we get to what the most like objective like punishment like what it should be. You know what I mean?
What the proportionality is?
Right. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
you can't determine it a priori. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this process of evidentiary reasoning that's like not just one way but like two ways, like going two ways in arbitration, right? That we can exhaust the evidence, right? And it would be, and both parties would want to do this,
So now the way I'm seeing it is like, you've played. This is going to sound super random, but it's relevant here. You ever played Super Smash Bros?
Yeah, I'm not that good at it.
I mean, that's the less relevant part because I'm also not good at it either. I don't play fucking video games. But the way I'm thinking about the punishment norm is like the fucking Smash Ball. And of course, the thing about the fucking Smash Ball is that
I don't know
anybody
what that
can.
is.
Oh, it's just a fucking thing that comes into the aether. It's like this invariant. Like you just treat it as an invariant. And then there is the ability to like preserve that invariant or it just fucking fades away.
Yeah,
And
that's
then it's
weird.
just like it's a weird way of looking at it, but that's the first thing that popped into my mind. And I'm trying to be like completely honest about where I'm coming in conceptualizing it. Because the first things that I start with are like, what is this kind of similar to? And then that's like the loose footwork that I have to work with. It's like there's this invariant here, and somebody is like, I want to preserve this invariant. We take it up to arbitration.
Well,
And
it's like
it's
it's like we were talking about with truth, right? Like the inherit like the heritability of truth, right? That's literally what it is. These are is exactly how truth is preserved or whatever. It's like it's truth like it means truth is preserved over these operations, these specific operations,
Mhm.
these specific transformations,
um, God, now I don't feel as
from one step to
bad.
the other,
I don't. Mhm. Now I don't feel as fucking bad not fully understanding this shit. Like it's something on the cusp of something completely new, but I have to fucking understand it. Um, the So with the heritability of truth, you are going through all of these. I think the perspective I'm coming from is like in order to
and we just
home.
say this symmetry, right, of mens rea, right? Like the intention here, like is just that's the truth condition, right? And so
Mhm.
whatever preserves that, right?
Mhm.
And that's what we're tracing, right? We're tracing what the intent, like what the intent entails,
Mhm.
because
I,
like mens rea is only mens rea in specific respects.
so God, I need to remember what I was thinking about. I think I lost it. Damn it. Um,
Talking about the inheritability of truth.
yes, I was talking about the heritability of truth, but I'm trying to remember like what exactly I was gonna um get at with that. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. So the punishment norm is insteadable. Um, that must mean that it's a
Through the
good.
relevant operations that
Yeah,
preserve. Yeah.
through the relevant operations, but homesteadable nonetheless. And from what I understand, all you know, like only goods are homesteadable. They have to be economized, and is arbitration the means by which you economize
Yeah.
the punishment norm? All right. So then, the punishment norm as a good, um, that's the first thing that I have to start with. Like I'm thinking of this coming from like, God damn it, I'm a
Well,
Rothbard.
no, not the punishment norm. To be clear, the right to the exclusive right to affect the punishment norm.
So that is okay. That does change things. So we're not homesteading the
Hold up, I'm
punishment
gonna
norm
mute
as such.
myself for a second.
All
I'm
right.
still listening.
So we're not changing the punishment norm as such. We're not like economizing on the punishment norm as such. That's just an invariant. We are economizing the ability to affect the punishment norm.
The relevant
And
acts that preserve that invariance.
mhm. um, it's difficult to think about something that's similar to. Um, like there's like a
Well, just
cross
ownership in general,
comparison to be
right?
made. Mhm.
It's like title is we have this initial title, right? Like that's we
Mhm.
don't homestead our bodies, right? And
Yes.
basically we just like the relevant operations that preserve that as an invariant, right? Across those operations, right? So like we basically like anything else we own inherits title from that, an initial title. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Hmm.
Like if we say like standing or non-standing is like uh
Mhm.
a truth value, like the truth condition,
Mhm.
if it runs
So
into like prior ownership, right, another title, right,
mhm.
somebody else, right, then it
Mhm.
can't it can't be inherited through the relevant acts, right?
Mhm. So
So what gets inherited is just it's non-standing, it's falsehood.
mhm. So
Very
something
true.
that I had compared it to when I was like something that I had brought up as relevant in order to have some sort of cross comparison over invariancy was guardianship, where like a guardianship title is this like invariant over time, and you are, you know, keeping up with the relevant actions that preserve this invariancy of guardianshiphood. Um, is it similar to that?
I don't think so.
Mm.
I think it's a bit different. Like guardianship is like very 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 like particular, at the start, just like in totality, just like it's only like, in particular respects. You know what I mean? That like the person is a child in particular respects, so you can act as a guardian to preserve their will in those respects.
Yes. But
I think that's a bit different. Like they like that's all they can do, right? They can act as a guardian to preserve their will in those specific respects. To
mhm,
like preserving it such that, and like until they're, able to express their will in that respect. Right.
but something about guardianship is that you also use it or lose it. Like you're either acting as a guardian there or you're just not acting as a guardian there because
Right.
you're not preserving the
Because
relevant will.
how else do you exclude others from it?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it's one
that's
of
what
those
I'm
things. It's not an immovable piece of land, right? It's like, you can only control the thing in order to, establish a distinction, like as a first comer from latecomers, right? You can only
Mhm,
do that according to the nature of the thing itself. So you like an immovable piece of land, you like I write about this in like the paper I'm writing. Here, I'll give you what I said. 1 second. Let me just pull it up. Yeah, so remember that only according to the nature of the thing is the distinction as a matter of action even possible, the distinction of owners from non-owners, right? So the nature of the thing determines the nature of the actions required to control it in the exclusion of others, viz. The nature of the thing determines what actions constitute control of it. So if it's something immovable like a field or river, then cultivating, fencing, or occupying its natural boundaries or otherwise embordering it in its in place may suffice. If it is a movable object, then moving it with you, enclosing it, storing it among your effects, or otherwise maintaining a border that moves with it may suffice. Right?
So
So it's like it's not special. That's the thing. You don't want to see it as like we're privileging like immovable land as the standard. Like it's not any more or less real, right? That's
Mhm.
just a movable land has these specific requirements for controlling it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And controlling it in the exclusion of others.
I
You get what I'm
see.
saying?
Yes. So
But then movable things, you need to maintain a border that moves with it.
mhm. Now, I mean the thing that I'm thinking about, because I understand that arbitration is the means or the nature by which you economize affecting the punishment norm.
Right.
But now there's just like I trace it back to like, the punishment norm itself, and I'm just like, yeah, where did this come from? And I just like I physically fucking can't
It's
integrate it.
there.
Like
It's not something separate. Like it's there
I
the whole
can't
time. You
think
know what I
of
mean?
anything.
It's
it's
through it has to run through every aspect.
mhm.
Right?
Every aspect of
It's
what?
not something that comes beforehand.
Mhm.
It's something that's preserved through the whole process. And if it has like the process hasn't been completed, then it's open to somebody else coming in, right, and finishing it.
Mhm. I think like um I the what I'm thinking about now is like say I'm like, divinity, where I'm just like I conflate fact and truth, and then you just ask like, fucking is a rock true? Or false?
Wait, he said
And
that?
I can't yeah, no, he conflated fact and truth in his argument with Andrew Wilson. So
Oh,
Yeah,
like
basically remember, truth is just like it's just for like tracking symmetries. It's just for
yes.
tracking invariants. Like it's literally just like a label. We say like we can check like yes, it tracks here and then it tracks over here. And we say yes, that's true because it tracks to this other true thing.
It's
It doesn't
heritability.
say anything else than that. So you can
Mhm.
deduce that it's true because it tracks. That's it.
Mhm. Like we're looking at all the predicatives, and then we're tracing the heritability back to like this thing. It's like this is true because this is true, and we can trace that back to that. But like what I'm thinking is, if like, something like that where you ask the question and then they just are like kerfuffle to provide an answer. If I were to just say this
Because it's like we can
punishment,
trace the symmetry and then there's no symmetry without asymmetry, right? But like
Mhm.
that also opens a possibility for symmetry breaking, right? So there's operations that break the symmetry and there's operations that preserve the symmetry. You know what I mean?
Mhm. And what I'm thinking is like, you know, kind of like how when Rothbard is, in Man Economy and says like, okay, let's remove this thing. Look at all these fucking inconsistencies here. Look at like what this is all this crazy shit that's going on now. If I were to just say, fuck this punishment norm shit, it's not real. What is the question that you would just ask me to, just illustrate the pure idiocy
On
of
what
what I'm
basis?
saying?
Like, because like remember, the arbitrary can't stand up to the non-arbitrary.
It how what if I just say like it's not
Like,
fucking
I
real
don't
because
care,
like
I don't care on what basis, right?
Mhm.
It's bourgeois
Like,
logic.
what's the standard here? You're like, are you considering the requirements of caring and like, like what like or all the things that you're now restricting yourself from being able to do, and achieve because they require you to care,
Mhm.
in this respect, right?
Mhm.
Like just like I like this I got from Nathaniel Brandon, right? It's like if you distrust your mind, then you simply cannot accomplish and you cannot succeed in anything that would require you to trust your mind.
Hell yeah.
So so if I say something like, I this punishment norm isn't fucking real because I just like we can't find it or something like that. Like we just can't like I have no clue what it refers to, what the referent there is.
Uh,
If I'm trying to find like the referent for a punishment norm.
it's the invariance that's preserved over these operations in these contexts,
um does
and
that
broken
start
under these operations in this context, like do you not
Mhm.
see that it can be like there's a symmetry here that can be preserved or broken under the relevant operations?
I see that for the intent that there's like this invariant intent with respect to the conflict.
Right, and but
And
remember, we're arbitrating over the case, right? And we're
Mhm.
talking about evidence pertaining to the case, right?
Mhm.
So that's all we're considering. That's all that counts. That's all that's under consideration in arbitration.
Mhm.
So like then you see like just how important that is because like you can't bring in any evidence that's inconsistent with that symmetry. Like, okay, there's like a fly. But you see what I'm
Kill
saying?
the fly.
um
Kill nature. Kill nature.
Like,
no
we
no
already have a prima facie case. Remember, we already have a prima facie case.
Mhm. um and then
So we have evidence that must be answered by evidence, or that any other evidence considered must answer to.
Mhm. um I think I'm just thinking here. I almost just like I almost wonder if because I have not dealt with anything remotely like arbitration in my life. That's what's so difficult to understand. Is I've never gone to court. I've never had to deal with a court. I've never had to deal with like, you know, stacking up
Well,
evidence
think
and
about it
gathering.
like this. Just like that's why I keep bringing it back to the arbitrary, right? This is
Something
just
never
basic
said.
like epistemology, bro. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, just think about it like all the debates you've ever had. You know what I mean? There's no basis for preferring the arbitrary over the non-arbitrary, or the or one arbitrary claim over any other arbitrary claim.
Mhm. Um, and thinking about like,
That's what you like. Thinking examples like the way I think in examples is just like, I mean, I'm getting this from my epistemology, like, and like that I've refined like through countless debates and stuff.
Mhm. Let me. Because perhaps this is something that I've just always implicitly assumed, but I've never like explicitly looked at it this way, where I'm like,
I
oh,
mean,
this
you
is
can
what's going on
like,
with
does
the
what I'm
debate.
saying like make sense? Yeah, you know what I mean? Does it track
Um,
with like? Does it integrate? You know?
not quite yet, and I think it's just because I haven't looked. Like, let me look back at a. Actually, you know what might be relevant here? How about we just look at the debate with Nye as an example? If I get on my
I don't
computer
know. That
here.
might not be relevant.
Huh?
It might not be relevant, but I guess we can.
I'm just thinking of like it's an example of it because we're like think of all the debates I've had, and I'm like, why don't I just kind of look at one?
Okay. Yeah, we can. He was being very arbitrary, so yeah, we can.
Yeah, he was being very arbitrary, so we could be like, okay, let's see this in, as the communists like to say in practice.
Yeah, he was appealing to the arbitrary a lot.
Mhm. So, God, let me see how I'm able to. I am in Zulu server, miraculously, but I don't think I'd be able to stream. Um,
You have to switch accounts.
yeah.
Don't you have like a
Oh, you
computer or
actually have an
something?
account.
You can just open it on another tab.
I see. Yeah, no, I'll just do that. Let me join on my computer. I've just been on my fucking phone instead of
Shocking.
Just don't
making.
join any VC. Well, I guess that wouldn't matter. It's not the same account.
Yeah. Um. Let me.
That's shocking.
Yeah,
You
for some
don't
reason you
you don't
can't
have
be in two VCs at once.
Yes. Me. Right. All right. There we go. Let me.
I mean, what's not integrating for you?
Um. That what you're referring to, I just don't.
Like what it is,
I
like think
can't.
about it and like ask yourself if I've already answered. You know what I mean? Like so, like because maybe you're just not considering what I've already said, like in the right context now.
What's
Like because I've given you the
what's not.
answers, you know, so you can ask the questions yourself, and like the answers will come to you. Like, oh yeah, these were the answers, you know.
Hmm.
So ask yourself like, okay, what is this? Da 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 da, and then the answers like hopefully they would come to you, you know. Because I've been explaining it for
I
like
mean,
fucking the past.
yes, but it may take a lot more time than that to integrate because integration is a long fucking grueling process. Like sometimes
Yeah.
you're just getting dragged through the
Well, I
fucking
mean, you could
mud
start now
trying
and
to
try and
integrate.
articulate it. You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying. Like ask yourself, like, okay, what is this, right? And then like
So
the answers should come. I'm saying the answers should come because I've been explaining it for a while.
I'm thinking about it in a broader sense right now. So like with arguments, you are any argument that I've been in, there is evidence for the claim here. And it's like look at this thing and look at that thing and look at this thing and look at that thing until there's just like indisputable evidence to where they just can't like object to it. It's kind of like when I'm in an argument and then they try to say something, but then I just refer back to something that I've already said, that I've already answered this, and like I've already answered that, and there's just no way for them to hold on to the position anymore. But I think the thing is like after that I was just like, yep, I guess I'm just correct, and then I moved on. It's like I never.
It's a lot more satisfying. I think you take a more Socratic approach and like you make them take the epistemic steps necessary to get to the conclusion, and then it's like how can they deny the epistemic steps they just like took? You know. So
Mhm.
maybe uh Nye's one is not the best one to look at. You know, look at the we were talking about this yesterday. The debate I had with Boots. Well, not so much debate. I was explaining to him. Search up in my server from G. Let me think. Marker might work.
All right, let me try marker.
Oh
From
yeah, the colored pencil.
Yeah,
that's good.
so
Okay, like go to the beginning because I break down this whole like example, you know.
yes. Let me go back up here. Yeah. How far back up does this go? The definition is not meant to exact. Was this about a concept as not its definition?
Yeah, sort of. But like, but not really. It's a little bit more like down. I think. Like, where are you?
At OS Theory of Definitions on Google
Go.
Docs.
Yeah, it starts just like below that. You know, the next conversation. It starts right after that.
All right, do you look at this? I used my ecological psychology and the affordances to argue against surveys as Jimmy.
Because I
Um,
already kind of went over a little bit like the objective theory of like similarity and like as lesser difference like a little bit in Zulu server with him. All right.
yes.
So there's a little bit of a
Okay.
basis here that I'm referring back to, but you shouldn't have to go look at that.
So, let me see. It's from here. Here's from
Like he's saying, so there is an essential characteristic because that's what we we're arguing about in Zulu server, you know?
Mhm. So there is an essential characteristic. You just think it's epistemological. Um, I still don't think that makes sense with everything that you said. What's epistemologically essential? Uh, Characteristic of red. Read chapter 3. Okay. Um, I see. I see. I understand now. There is an essential characteristic common for every member of a genus, but that characteristic is falling within this range. All shades of blue fall within this range of hue. But I don't see how this is not identical to the moderate nominalist position. Right down in the same chapter. How do you know the hue range of blue? How do you know it's from 450 to 485? Let's see. No, you have all these colors which are less different from one another. Then they have a distant foil. Yeah, Peikoff talks about that. I remember in his history of philosophy lecture, he started talking about he was talking about Hegel. He was talking about concept formation. He was talking about like there's all these like kind of outlier concepts, such as like where does
Right,
the
right.
range
And
of
I basically use impredicativity to really clarify this issue, quote unquote. You know? So
Mhm.
read on. The conclusion is really satisfying.
Mhm. Let's see. Uh, why can't I say the range is 450 to 486 instead? What's a supposedly objective fact makes it so that I would be wrong in that? What objective fact grounds the judgment that the range of it is what you say it is? Um, let's see, you should look about it like taking every other color as a foil and some more distant than others. Um, I don't see why it's not subjective, as in why you think it doesn't change from individual to individual. Um, okay, but where do you stop? When is a color no longer all that distant and you go, okay, this qualifies as blue? At what point? How is it not subjective? You'd have to change the unit for that. I mean, that's just what it is in nanometers. It would only not be that if you had a different unit, like at a different scale. Um, no, we keep it to nanometers, but I say it's 1 nanometer more. I don't see how. It's contextual. That doesn't mean it's subjective. Subjective would mean that you could take it to be anything you want by no standard. You say it stops at 45. I say actually it stops at 4086. How do you know who's right? Well, again, that's nanometers. It's an extrinsic metric, not something that changes with context. So it's disanalogous to the very issue you're pointing to. It's derivative, so it doesn't matter. What you're pointing to is a fact of what's derivative of measurement of things. Subjective means private validity. What? Anyway, subjective means private validity, meaning it's not true for all individuals. It differs from individual to individual, like taste. Why do you believe
Yeah, and then they
that the
just like then
hue?
they use that as to make an arbitrary, distinction between primary and secondary qualities, and then we have a dualism where secondary qualities are properties of mental states, and primary qualities are properties of the world, and we have to somehow connect them.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Okay,
you know all of that stuff,
whatever
right?
semantics out for this now. So you think it's not arbitrary. Then it has objective ground. If yes, what is it? What makes blue have that range? Let's consider markers for a minute. Okay. Do you have any different colored markers?
Wait,
Yes.
wait, wait. You're did you skip? You skipped a bunch of stuff. Okay, you keep skipping a bunch of stuff. So I keep getting confused where you're at.
Did I?
You're skipping
I
like
did.
my messages. Like it's so you're it's not subjective. Then does it have an objective ground? And then you skipped like two of my messages, and then you're like, just consider
Um.
markers for a minute.
Oh, I see. Like instead of nanometers, we have a bunch of different colored markers. Um, well, it's not what I mean by subjective. I have plenty of issues with this, and it's really not relevant. Just know that it's really dumb and based on some major errors. My understanding is that subjective equals arbitrary equals basis. Very simple. Just consider the markers for a minute. Okay, whatever. Let's keep the semantics out of this for now. So you think it's not arbitrary, then it has objective ground. If yes, what is it? What makes blue have that range? Consider markers for a minute. Okay. Do you have any different color markers? Yes. It would be much easier to grasp that way. Take a picture. I have pens. That's fine. Not markers. All right. We got three different pens. All right. Black, blue, and green pens. Okay. That's not gonna work. Well, yeah, because he doesn't have a range of blue or green.
Yeah,
Right.
but I got my
In,
own stuff, so it's fine.
I see. In terms of color, these objects are clearly different from one another. Yes. Yes, of course. And I recognize they're similarly against the foiled or the foiled. Okay. Now what do you see? Red, red, blue.
The blue being the
Blue
foil.
pencil.
Blue is a foil.
Blue being the foil because it's distinct. It
So
lacks
before
something
we
that
could
the
only see
others.
the difference, right?
Mhm.
The difference between the two different kinds of red, and also the red of the background, right? We can only see the difference, but now we can see their similarity, right? Their lesser difference from each other relative to the foil,
Yes.
right?
So this is just variance.
Right, right. But like this is just basic. Objectivist epistemology 101. So
Yes. Okay. Blue pencil. That's very different. Right. Um. That way.
very different.
Oh. That way
Yeah.
we foreground the similarity of the reds. Makes sense. When before it was their difference. The point is that the very relationships amongst the things. Yes, because we were talking about how invariance foreground variance.
Yeah.
Let's see. And that's why you put them all in the category red. So if I add more color pencils here, you'll see the measurements shift, but they do so in a lawful, non-arbitrary way.
Yeah. So it's a different invariance that we're basically we're like backgrounding that invariance, that ratio, right? We're backgrounding that, and that's able, like, then we're able to highlight the difference between the blue and all the reds. You know,
Yeah. Yes. Um. So then, and so you'll see the measurement shift, but they do so in a
because like
lawful,
remember,
non-arbitrary.
similarity is just is lesser difference, right? It's a form of difference.
Yes.
It's variance,
Like.
right? It's not invariant. Uh, Similarity.
Mhm. Um. Because it's the very relationships among the things themselves. The red ones and the orange one would be similar compared to the blue one. Would you then put the red ones and the orange one all in the same category of red? No. To say it was subjective would be to say that the result of me adding another pencil changes the context of measurement however I wish to. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, until you get more oranges in your context. Kind of. Let's see. So now you have like hundreds of markers, like every marker you've ever seen. Think about what happens when you try to look at the boundaries of the ranges, such as to ask the questions you were concerned about. You would have to zoom in, right? But what that does is only bring you right back to just a few markers, and that's a different context entirely, as we've seen. So, okay, the ranges change depending on the context. So, in one context, the orange would be in the category of red, but in the broader context, you recognize it as its own category. Um, the point is that establishing a range is not drawing an arbitrary boundary. It's a function of the units being measured and compared. Very relationship among the things themselves. You don't zoom in and go, here's where the range ends. You lose that range of the concept entirely that way. Um, let's see. That's how you were thinking of it, like, right? Right. I was wrong, and it's actually relative to the context. The moment you step into a different context, the range changes. It's relative and context dependent rather than subjective. I see. And it does so in a non-arbitrary way, not however you wish to change regardless of the units you actually have. Now the comparison to distance makes sense to me. Ben Swinger talks about distance like this as well.
Yeah, he uses distance as a analogy.
Yes. Let's see, thanks. Okay, so I see you're just dragging him into the mud about this. Like walking him
You see,
through
I'm
the
making him
steps.
take the epistemic steps necessary to get to the conclusion.
Yes. And then like, I mean, if Boots were to just be like, completely revert on it or say something that's completely like out of the range of what we're talking about, you just be like, but I just walked you through all these steps, and then you're just like saying something that's
Right, and you
completely
see, he
in
keeps
denial.
he keeps trying to find whatever things he can pick at. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like, he just eventually he just can't find anything else. You know, because he's the one taking these like the steps. You know.
Mhm.
But yeah, keep reading on.
Oh, is there
It's not a
anything?
priori. It's not something you fix in advance. The boundary. You know, it's not independent of context. Right.
Mhm. Let's see. And it does so in a non-arbitrary way, however you wish to change, regardless of what units you actually have. And then he just says thanks. Does it keep going after this?
Doesn't.
Uh, I don't.
No, I don't think it does.
Yeah, that's the end of it. Um, but
Yeah,
I guess
so
if we're.
you see, that was like a satisfying like conclusion, you know.
Mhm.
And Boots is notoriously like fucking,
Yes,
Boots is so stubborn.
yeah.
So it's
he's.
So
like it's
I
a
mean, he's a fucking
miracle.
Talking Heads
Fucking
fan. Like, come on. Like the most like fucking pretentious, annoying motherfuckers on the planet. Talking Heads fan. Like, is there anything more to
and like
say after that?
I was like asking the questions about like things, you know. I was like saying like, what do you like what is this? What's going on here? You know, what do you see?
Mhm.
You can't just like make it up, you know. You can't just refuse to answer, like say something, you know, arbitrary. You know what I mean?
Mhm. So then, trying to imagine this in like an arbitration sense, where it's like we're going through the evidence, and then while we're going through the evidence, like
Like
we're
what would it
walking
sound like
through
for him to argue against what he's already like, you know,
accepting.
basically, yeah.
Yeah. So like we're already agreeing to the evidence here. Like we're already looking at the evidence here. We're compiling this evidence. And then out of nowhere, there's just like this like variant stick out here, and then it's like, oh, this is completely contradicted by the other facts of the case. Like you can't argue against this.
It's just like whenever he tries to say anything against it, he's just like, you know, we just like we can't hear him. He's not saying anything.
How about so we understand that invariance foreground variance. So if we were to take the punishment norm, what variance is the punishment norm
Well, that's
foreground?
different. Backgrounding invariance to foreground variance. That's like measurement. That's perception. That's not deduction. Like we're talking about deduction when we're saying we're like tracing this symmetry through, you know, the relevant symmetry breaking and symmetry preserving operations.
Mhm.
Like, because we're just deducing like because we put the label on, you know, where we get the symmetry from, right? Because we put that label there, anything that, you know, preserves this symmetry, we can, you know, deduce that, like, we have this label here, you know, we could put this label here. Just say this is true, and then we can deduce, oh, this is true, you know?
Mhm.
That's all we're doing. We're deducing the truth. We're deducing the truth values. We're tracing it. We're preserving truth, or or also, falsehood gets preserved too. You know, if you're like if you're working off false premises, right? The conclusions could be false.
Ooh. Hoo-hoo-wee. Fuck.
So, but that's different, right? It's not we're that's measurement, direct perception. That's literally like we're backgrounding invariance to foreground like the relevant, like the value specific, like you know, variance, the change, right? The particulars, the differences, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
On the, you know, action relevant dimensions, the organism relevant dimensions, right?
Hmm.
And Turvey talks all about that, like in his understanding of like affordances. Oh, I'm trailing off.
So let's see. Um.
But yeah, but when we're talking about tracing, like the symmetry through, like what like just we're tracing, you know, symmetry preservation or symmetry breaking, right? That's all we're doing,
Mhm.
right? But we don't get the symmetry from this, right?
So la 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 la. Where I feel like everything, and I mean everything, is going back to this thing that I understand, where it's like, we're walking through the the facts here, and
I
it's
mean, how have you
impossible
understood
for.
the heritability of truth? You know,
Mhm.
since I started bringing that up, or like even before then.
I mean, I had always understood truth as, or I mean, for a long time, probably around the time that I broke off from the ANO is when I started understanding truth as inherited, because I was like, obviously their idea of truth is fucking nonsense. So then I I understood truth as inherited. I understand this here where we're going through like the facts and the evidence, and we're weighing the evidence, and then if you were to just say something crazy here, it would just be fucking nonsense. I get all of this. It's just the is it similar to like how we have uh God, it just all traces back to things that I understand. That's what's so odd about this, and I'm starting to be led to believe that I am understanding everything, and that this idea of the punishment norm that I'm trying to figure out is something that's like nonsense, and that's actually that I have everything in my disposal here. the difficulty is just that, like, I understand this all, but where does the punishment norm come in here? I mean, I understand that, you know,
It
we
doesn't
take this
you gotta understand. Wow, I'm echoing. Somebody's
wow,
echoing.
is it Tedic?
Yo, yeah, you gotta understand. It's like deduction from independent knowledge, right? We have independent knowledge of the symmetry and what we're tracing it through, right?
Mhm,
We're not getting that from the deduction, right?
mhm.
And that's what you're like thinking, we have to deduce it.
Not even that we have to deduce it, but just that we like, where do we see the punishment norm? Where do we perceive this punishment norm? Like, that's so
Like,
difficult
what do you
about
mean?
it, is that I don't perceive it. I don't I feel like I
It's not.
don't.
It's because it's just the fact that we don't ever perceive like its absence. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
It's just always there. Like uh, it just every case prima facie. Like when you have mens rea, right?
mhm. And
It's like and we can't even consider, like we can't even address like the negative, the absence of it. You know what I mean? In that process, right?
mhm.
You get what I'm saying?
Um, I do, I just don't understand, uh
Like maybe that's why it's like because you're trying to picture it like I have to identify what it's not. You know what I mean? Like I have to identify it by what it's not. Like it's not this, right? This is when we don't have it or whatever, right? But then that's just not relevant.
I think I am trying to identify it by what it is, but, I mean, what is it? That's what's so hard to understand, it's just like, there's all I understand is that there's something here about intent that, grants this invariant. Something there is going on, and that's all I understand, is that something there is going on,
Well,
and
I
it's
think like just I mean, ask yourself about that, right? Ask yourself about that and see if the answers come to you from what I've already said. Like that could help integrate.
um, so let me take because I remember you and I were talking about, like, I think what you were talking about with land and the means by which you're appropriating with, like, guardianship, or not guardianship, like, how guardianship was mentioned, but, like, we go to arbitration in order to, you know, economize the right, um, to affect the punishment norm. And it's like with land, how we economize that good as well, this, like, scarce good, and there is um, a means by which we do that, and those means can vary. Like, with land, you have to create this, like, intersubjective, or, like, interpersonally ascertainable and objective border. With, like, little objects and things, you store it.
I can repeat what I said again because I
Yes.
I think I stated it really well.
Mhm.
So yeah, remember that only according to the nature of the thing is the well I can send you this whole thing. So paragraph here. So all this stuff here. Here.
Oh God.
What the fuck? Okay. I just gotta edit the doc. I gotta update it. Here's the my updates. on this. You already seen these notes before, I think.
What's your
Alright,
question?
after you guys are done, Zetetic wants to ask another question about this life form.
Okay, let me just pull up docs because I gotta update it. Hold on.
Like, is the first life? What is he talking? What?
I glitched out there. Sorry. I'm gonna explain what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Like basically, it says that it doesn't make sense that it could be the first human, right? But like, what about the first life form? Is that invalid?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense either.
Was
Really?
chicken or the egg? It makes
Because remember, when you zoom in, when you zoom in at the boundaries of the range, it's not like it's you're looking at a different context, right?
I was even saying like it's gradual from
Right.
non-life to life, even.
And it's like when we zoom in, it's like, it's kind of like Zeno's paradox, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just like you're looking for, like an a priori criteria, when it's just like when we zoom in, it's going to be gradual to that scale, it's going to be continuous to that scale, right? And when we zoom out, it's going to be continuous to that scale, right?
Right. I'm just. It doesn't seem like there's anything like definite at all.
Well,
Then.
it doesn't, like, remember, it doesn't change in an arbitrary way, it changes in a lawful way. Because remember, it changes as a function of the very, like, units.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, sure. Um, I just don't know how like anything could be definite at that point if everything
Well, it
is
is
like
definite.
indeterminate. Like,
It's not. That's not
at some
indeterminate.
point, it's both life and non-life, or neither, or whatever.
Well, there is no terminal point. It's impredicative, right? There's no terminal endpoints.
Yeah, but like, as I like, for instance, with law, like,
It's important, right? Because
there's
how
a
do you
threshold, and there
define
is
life?
an objective
How do you
threshold.
define? How do
That's
you
how I understand it.
identify life? How do you identify this thing? Right? It's impredicative, right? There's no
Right.
there's these loops, right? There's gonna be these loops when you're identifying it that you're gonna keep looping around, right? But it's definite, right? It's not an infinite regress because you're not infinitely multiplying, like, new arbitrary things, right? It's just x in terms of y, it's y in terms of x, right? You can go from y to x, or you can go from x to y, but you can't do both at the same time. You can't do both simultaneously.
Yeah, I don't know how to wrap my mind around that. I just can't understand that. Sorry.
That's just that's just impredicativity in general, right? So
It
it's like
seems so
when you're trying,
complex.
so
I
you're
want to
going to have.
understand something, but like it seems impossible. I sort of get what you're saying, but it's
Well,
like,
it's like you just have to grasp what's already right in front of you. I mean, like, literally, like, concepts are impredicative in general. Concepts are impredicative. Things are impredicative. Natural things, like their identity. It's all imperative. Reality is impredicative.
okay.
Reality is not predicative.
Yeah,
It's not
sure. I want to
formalizable.
listen. I want to
You know,
listen to this retribution
there's
talk
an
if you
essential
want.
semantic component,
Sure,
right?
sure,
Because
sure.
you can't. There's no God's eye view.
I'm not gonna
Right?
get
This
this
is this is
today.
an
Okay.
important point, right?
I'm not gonna
This is
get
what it
this
means.
today.
This is what it means for there to be irremovable impredicativities, right? It means that there's an essential semantic component that cannot be removed. And what that means is that, right, you can't have a God's eye view standard. That's impossible. You have to have some objective standard. You got to be something in the same world as the thing, that you know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, you
Yeah.
got to pick out some objective standard, right, to compare things, right?
A scale
So,
of analysis.
right. So it's never non-specific, remember? It's always this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, right?
It's always this thing, this thing, this thing. Like, would you say that applies to what we don't know if it is life or not?
Yeah. Yeah, but
It's
it's
either
like we
life
have
or
to
it's
choose a
not, and
standard,
that's
right? We have to choose a standard, but that doesn't mean it's subjective, right?
yeah. I'm
Because we
not
can't
saying that
choose
at
any
all.
standard. We can't choose any standard, but we have to choose some standard, right? But again, it's not exhausted by any one standard, right? That's a key point, right? It's not exhausted. That's the essential semantic component, right? So like uh we can slice up a pizza. We
Oh.
can slice up a pizza like in columns, or we can slice
Oh.
it up in like triangles, you know,
I
or
fucking get it.
in a checkered pattern, you know. But we can't do it
Oh.
all at once. We can,
I
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
This
totally.
is
Okay,
having
now
a
I
fucking
get.
orgasm right
Now
now.
I get the fucking pizza, the cheese, the damn pizza analogy. Okay,
So that's why there's all this loopiness, right? Because
I
it,
see.
yeah, it's never exhausted by
Yeah,
like a finite list of its properties or whatever, right? That
right.
you can fix, like you fix in
I'm
advance.
I'm
Because you
not
gotta,
Like you
you get,
understanding this at
you get,
all. I think, but
like
I
you
wanted
say.
to hear the
it's
retribution
not
discussion.
exhausted by any one description, right?
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes okay. And you can't cut the
Because
cheese
you
pizza
have to
into.
describe it by means of its relationships to other things, right? And there's all these things in the world. There's no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That fucking integration for Zetetic was like an
No,
orgasm. I was
that
just
was
hearing
me.
him like, "Oh, that was you."
Yeah.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah. Because we bring
I
up this
didn't get it at
pizza.
all. Sorry.
What
This
didn't
God
you
damn
get?
it, Zetetic! Zetetic, God damn it!
Sorry.
You're looking for a context independent standard, bro. Like you're looking for, but like that doesn't, it can't exhaust the identity that you want it to exhaust the identity, but like it won't. It just can't.
Good thing I recorded that. 'Cause I can write that down. Yeah, because we talked about the cheese, slicing up the cheese curd or whatever in
Yeah,
lexicon.
reality is impredicative. It's
Yeah,
non-formalizable.
yeah. But you have to pick a standard. It could be any standard. You can cut it any way you want, but you have to cut it some way, and you can't cut it, you know,
It's
multiple ways.
irreversibility, bro.
Yeah.
It's the second law, bro. It's the second law of thermodynamics. Literally. Like the symmetry of the loop is the first law, and like that part that we just talked, the irreversibility is the semantic component, right? That's the second law. But the first law is basically we have this opportunity, right, for this semantic like linkage, these semantic linkages among things, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good.
What about you, Stratino? Did you grasp any of that?
Well, of course I mean I grasped that because I already understood impredicativity.
Right.
Um, especially
You
because
you
I
can go
used to
from
argue.
y to x, or you can go from x to y, but you can't do both at once.
Yeah,
Well.
I I remember I used to argue. There was I know that Oh knows him. That one server that Zetetic had sent me that was like authentic masculinity. It was like Eric Rodney's
Ah.
server. We were
Right.
arguing with him. I remember
Yeah.
I was pointing to him in predicativity, where it's like specifically the way that I've had to utilize it, and it's always with like these like biology debates. Is like you can't understand the the lungs or the liver or the brain or anything like that in a vacuum. You have to understand it with respect to the
But
the
also,
entity, like what it's
think about it. Let's say you have one human. How do you
I think you said that
differentiate?
to me. I
You know
think
what I
you said
mean?
that to me at one point as well.
Like if you have one human, you have one living thing. How are you able, like at all, to differentiate? Like that as a distinct thing. You know what I mean?
because there's no like there's no likeness. It's like
Right.
you have
There's
to
no
have like
likeness.
yeah.
There's no lesser difference. Right. I mean, it's just because you only have one. But like that itself already assumes rationalism, right?
I
Well, I
mean
mean, you
it
could differentiate a living
And that's
thing from
also,
it.
oh, bro, I just made a huge into fucking integration, bro. What? You know how I'm always saying how like there cannot be a universe of only one thing?
I that's what I was also about. Dude, I was about to make that fucking integration too. I was literally about to mention that.
Bro.
I don't know
I
what's
I
think
going
the
beat
on,
you
great
but
thing is
fucking
that
to
like
it, bro.
every you just have the ability to interrupt. I don't fucking interrupt, but the fact that you interrupt, the only difference between you and I ever making the same point at the same time is the fact that you can interrupt me. And I'm just too fucking polite.
Bro. Yeah, bro. Fucking that's the opposite of the fucking semantic component, right? Like I mean it's like the formalized universe, right? It's a universe of only one fucking thing. Right? A
Yeah,
rationalist.
because I was about to
Yep.
mention the Platonic forms is like you think about what Plato is talking about with the Platonic forms, there's like the Platonic cat and the Platonic dog.
Yeah.
And no, even at
Makes
that
no
rate, you can't
sense.
have
Right? A universe of only one thing is a contradiction in terms.
yes. Because the other thing is that you can't have like a Platonic realm of even animals because then you have animals by which to differentiate by this other thing, and then this other differentiate by this other thing, and then all you have now is just this one thing, and that's it. And then now there's no more
Right, bro.
ability
It's
to
the
differentiate.
lock.
There's
It's
just no
locked
Wait,
more.
wait, wait.
substratum, bro. It's the fucking Hegel's pure being, bro.
Hold on, hold on.
Yeah, it's
Stratino, can you say I don't?
Bro.
You said
Look, bro. I'm gonna make your integration even greater here, bro. Watch this. Look. Read, read like, bro. You'll when you catch it, bro. You'll notice it, bro. Hold up.
remember in class, actually, we
I'm
had
like
like a
I don't want to
short class in
spoil it.
one
You
school.
know what I mean? I don't want to spoil it. Here we
I
go.
just want to say something and gone around Hegel that they taught me in some class somewhere. They said like all you need is one thing to make an abstraction, which kind of reminds me of this.
no, no. You need
Okay.
so much.
Yes. Read like
Sorry, what did you say,
okay.
Stratino?
Um. Oh no, I was about to say. Oh no, is
Yes.
this?
Read like up to page
yeah.
3 here.
I,
Like
I'm
just like read really fast up to page 3 here, and
Right.
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be like pretty crazy for you, I think.
Where'd you post it?
In VC text here.
Oh, I see.
Read really
Uh,
fast, like up to page 3 there.
let me see.
And
Nothing.
you'll see like the important parts to like read more, attentively.
Use and selection was an ecological. Mhm.
Man, it's a prime mover, bro. Another integration, because that's like violation of the second law is an unmoved mover. I mean, a
Yes.
professional motion machine of the second kind.
Yeah, it's kind of like existence out of non-existence, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an unmoved mover.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also
It's
monism, which is
basically it
kind of
assumes
similar.
like a homogeneous, like an infinite source of energy that it has access to. Like it has access to the platonic world of forms. You know what I mean?
Right,
I mean,
infinite source of energy being a contradiction.
Right.
I mean, also consider like materialism and idealism, where it's like everything is one kind of thing.
Basically, it's reversing the increase of entropy, right? If it has access to, if it can draw work from a already homogeneous, like already depleted potential, right? There's no potential here. It's just like it's a zero, right? But if it can draw work from it, right? That's what the unmoved mover is doing. You know?
How does like entropy like relate
So
to
it
like
effectively
antimatter
reverses the
and all
increase.
stuff. I was just
It
watching.
effectively reverses the increase of entropy, which is impossible.
Okay. I was wondering. I was just watching like this Veritasium thing about antimatter. How does that relate to the stuff you're working on? And I guess
I don't know.
entropy.
I don't. I don't know about antimatter, dark matter, dark energy. I don't know about that stuff. You know, that has nothing to do with thermodynamics. So,
Sure.
like, all
What were
these
you
people
gonna?
are like they have to invent all these like things. You know what I mean, to like explain stuff because they don't.
but
They're not
but they
account,
say that. Yeah, right. But they say they
They're not
are
taking
able to create.
thermodynamics into account. Is the problem? That's the only
Right.
problem here.
Yeah, but like they are able to create it. They say.
It's the only problem here is that they're not taking they're it's their formalism, right? It's yes, they're in their formalism. This is what it is, right? Whatever, right? But their formalism is not reality. Remember, the formalism cannot exhaust reality, right? Reality is not formalizable. It's impredicative. There's irremovable impredicativities, and they're like if they try to say no, it's reality. What our formalism is saying, like it's reality. No, that's their you know.
Can you say the same about like impredicativity? Like you're saying that's reality.
Like, what do you mean? That like it already like relies on that. You know what I mean? It already has to have independent access to like some impredicativity is the base. You know what I mean? For there even to be predicativity possible, right?
Okay.
What were you gonna say? Oh knows.
I was very curious. You mentioned like a world of just animals, and you said that wouldn't be possible to differentiate them. I didn't
I
really
mean,
get
just
what you
no. I
meant.
mean, you have one animal, you won't be able
Uh,
to differentiate it as like an
Yeah.
animal. You know?
So
oh,
what I was
okay.
saying is that there's like the world of forms is collapsing in on itself because what it's saying is that there are like, the platonic cat, but in order to have that, you would have to have the platonic animal, but in order to prevent differentiation between the
Oh,
platonic animal and something else, and it all collapses into like one
Right.
fundamental object until it's nothing.
Yeah, void.
I see.
Just
Okay.
abstraction as subtraction.
Yeah.
Abstract. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Which is a really interesting way to tie like Hegel's relevance to Plato.
Right. I mean, you
Um,
see abstraction and subtraction. You see it everywhere. Once you understand, like, you see really how
uh,
present it is. You know, like
you
treating acts of identification as negation. You know, like identifying something by negation.
you said that you were going to post that one passage from what you were reading off
Right.
in VCT.
Yeah. But I wanted you to read the like up to page 3 there. Did you catch
Yeah, I
up?
did.
Mine too.
Yeah. So I was looking
Was
at the fun.
my bad. Sorry.
The drawing fundamental distinctions between like and unlike entities is an essential step in guiding science and consequently is not a job to be taken lightly. If a system is decomposed in a way that is inappropriate given the phenomenon of interest, scientific explanation, and a process occurring within that system becomes much more challenging, even impossible. And then he talks about like Newtonian, the reductionistic paradigm, and
I
all.
was referring to like the subdivision stuff. You know,
Mhm. Um,
you read that part.
did they talk about that? Let me see. Uh, do they talk about subdivisions? I don't see subdivisions here.
Yeah, nested reciprocity. That's
Oh, I
the paper.
see. Um,
Page 3, I think it starts.
page 3, I see. Um,
Right, but like they're making these dualisms, these ontological divisions, right? So they're dividing the world on the basis of like they're dividing things on the basis of satisfying this like like they have this property or not. Like but the property is just a Boolean measure, like positive or negative. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's a priori, it's fixed in advance, right? So that's how you get the mind matter like dualism. You know what I mean? We have this like
Oh.
you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get it now, and I think it's crazy is that I was I
And
only
Rosen says this is explicitly in Essays on Life itself. He says, you know, every single vicious regress, infinite regress, it comes from like it comes from trying to split the world on the basis of satisfying some property or not, right? On the basis of trying to trying to, you know, what's it called? Account for impredicativities in predicative terms.
it's crazy is
Because
that I
yeah,
get it now, because before I thought that you were saying
and
instead
infinite
of
regress.
Boolean.
Remember, these are perpetual motion. This is perpetual motion. These are violations of the laws of thermodynamics, right? Every instance of like these infinite regress, right? So it really integrates well.
I had understood this, but I actually thought that you were referring to something completely different because you have that Miami accent and you were saying, I thought you were saying bouillon instead of bouillon, and I was thinking like chicken bouillon
Oh
cube,
no, Boolean, yeah.
and I was so confused. I was like, wait, what is bouillon? Like all I could know is like beef bouillon cubes, chicken
Bouillon.
bouillon cubes, like the fucking cooking cube.
But yeah, you see
But
the stuff
no,
about the subdivision stuff. There is that like basically abstraction and subtraction. But this is also like modularity, like the modular, uh like it's a key aspect of like abduction and like modern cognitivist like information theoretic science. You know what I mean? Like philosophy of mind stuff, right? It's all about like modularity, right? Like encapsulated, you know, modules, right? Once you'll probably find some stuff about that and learn about that when you read into like ecopsych. You know what I mean? But like that's what they're referring to there, and it's another instance of abstraction as subtraction, and this is like key to like uh uh like mechanizing it, you know what I mean, implementing abduction, right, in computation or whatever. It has to be like the information must be like it must be informationally encapsulated, like like the Bayesian priors, the a priori, criteria, right, of the Boolean measure, right, the standard of the Boolean measure, right.
Mm.
It has to be informationally encapsulated, right, for abduction, but it can't be, right. Turvey gives the whole riddle of abduction in this other paper I'll link here, but read that part about subdivision.
Mhm.
Are you reading a lecture?
Here, I linked in VC text. Turvey talks about the riddle of abduction there.
What brought you to the you were talking about like retribution, right? What brought you
Yes,
to that?
Bro,
because I
fucking Stratino was getting up there, bro, in like fucking integration. So this is just like, it's like you're watching like an anime like battle going on, like just like I can't see them. They're moving so fast,
yeah, this isn't even my final form.
I'm rising up the rank. I'm fucking like working out integration wise. Like my
I'm in the ladder.
integration muscles are fucking jacked. I got like 8-pack integration.
I'm
And you
like
could
very
that would be
weak. I can't. I don't like this. Like, is destroying my brain. Like, you can work from multi. You have
your
to like work
brain.
from multiple
You
standards.
see this, guys, bro? This is, you're not integrated enough, bro. That's just you see
yeah,
you're referring to your brain as like the one who's thinking,
right.
Okay.
My
Yeah, I need
brain
to
is
change up my
thinking, not
language
me.
or whatever. Yeah, sure.
Oh, gee, it's the neurons that are doing the thinking. Idiot.
You don't see the synapses? They're going wild right now. They're having like a fucking snap crackle pop Rice Krispie
Guys.
party right now.
I don't know about you guys, but my cock is doing the thinking.
Sometimes.
my guys, like I don't think you understand. My cock is not integrating this right now. It's just like
You mean
like I'm really working out my cock thinking about this right now.
you didn't get a boner when you integrated?
Hell yeah. I mean, that's what you did.
Hey, works for me.
You know, I don't know, maybe it's not like the worst thing. I sadly I gotta go.
Okay, here in DC text, like here's
Really?
the updated doc. I'll keep updating this doc, right? But that was like where the immovable land point was. Like I'm still working on this, right? And you could see it's just like I don't know, bro. I don't even know how I got this like so fucking autistic, bro. Bro, we should go through this right now. Do you really have to go, bro? We should go through this right now.
I do have to go. I spent like a good bit of time here and I
Do you have like
sadly
10
like
minutes? You know?
do I have 10? I don't. Like I gotta get ready because I have to drive Dagny home from work because like they
Dagny?
fucked her over. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Dagny, like in the books I've
Oh
heard
wait,
about?
when are you coming back though?
After I'm coming back, I gotta go to bed. Like it's a whole event. I got a packed schedule, trust me.
Okay.
But are you able to post the one passage that that you were quoting? Because I think like after you post that, I'll be able to look at that like tomorrow and then start really getting down
It's
to
right there, bro. I mean it's in paragraph 4.
oh, of this Google Doc?
Yeah, the Google Docs.
I see. All right.
You see how fucking
Um,
autistic it is, bro?
holy shit. Okay, okay. Um, well, yeah, sadly I gotta go. Good to know that I'm so well wanted. I'll I guess see you get to be like the Sith Lord and I get to be like this like fucking apprentice. I used to be Zulu's apprentice. I like I'm gonna become a journeyman. Um but yeah, I gotta get hopping. See ya.
All right, yo.
Bye.
Yeah, see you.
Does he have like
Does anybody else want to go over this? This is like my paper that I started working on because you made me synthetic and like
Oh,
Yeah.
that stuff. Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean,
We take
I just wanted to like hear what's up, and maybe go
yeah.
to bed a bit earlier today. So maybe like more, maybe
Oh.
like 10 more minutes, maybe.
I mean,
Here.
yeah, I can go over if you'd like.
But I was just wondering, like, does he have objectivist parents or something? Or
I
because
don't know,
like
like it Dagny's like his girlfriend or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Dagny's his
that's
girlfriend.
crazy. That's crazy that she's named Dagny, right?
I think that's like a
I
nickname.
yeah, it's
Okay,
probably
okay.
not. I
Right,
mean,
right. Yeah, yeah, sure, that makes sense. That makes sense,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, my parents didn't name me Oh Nose.
Yeah, of course. That would be tragic.
Synthetic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Okay, do you guys want to go over this
Sakura.
a little bit?
yeah, I'm interested. This is
Okay, yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna
sure.
play
How
some
long?
video games while you guys
Uh,
like go through it and ask me questions, I guess.
okay.
okay.
Yeah. Have you like expanded on it, or is this the same?
Yeah, I've been fucking expanding on it and I have like basically I keep coming back to, flesh out the beginning and stuff because I have like I have pages and pages of notes of stuff I want to talk about.
Hmm. Right.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, give me a actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I need
I'm
to,
just
'cause,
still
like,
I'm just still thinking about the
I
interrogativity
need some
thing.
feedback because I don't know if my
Yeah.
autism is like if I'm too autistic here. You know, I don't have autism. By the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
but
No, you're good. I'll read it with you. I'll go over it. Give me 1 minute.
I wish I could have a dark team because it's blasting my eyes with this white
like
thing.
I've tried to like, you know, like I keep, you know, going over it, doing another pass over it, and simplifying it and lowering the autism, you know, a little bit as much as I can. And I think I really tried to do that.
Yeah,
Right,
that's good.
right.
We'll go through it. That will. Yeah.
See, I'll just paste it in a different place. Let's see. Quite the preamble will be necessary here, but should I read it? I don't know.
Is that a period? I haven't looked at the fucking first sentence in so long.
Mm.
Well, there's a period.
No, that's a
What does
comma.
in rem mean? What does that mean?
Like against the world.
Okay, let's see. And more in what makes those rights effective.
It's like
In the
the
world.
distinction between, you know, like whatever's based on contracts, right? Like contracts. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like agreement is in personam, you know? And in rem would be like property rights, right?
Okay.
It's like that distinction. So it's not just about what we agree about what fucking property rights are and all that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's objective. It's not subjective. Yes, of course.
Yeah, it's not based on agreement.
Yeah. But isn't that more about the justifications then?
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about a different aspect.
Okay.
Oh, that the way you put the word of this, the exclusion principle is really good. It's good. That makes a lot of sense.
So you're saying, like, for order to like people, for people to act or do certain things, they must act according to property rights.
What are you referring to?
I'm just looking at the first thing. I'm not sure I'm getting. Maybe it's just too late for me.
I mean,
don't know.
I'm talking about the objective part. Like, you know how we're saying borders are objective and intersubjectively ascertainable. I'm really focusing on the objective part. You know,
Okay.
and you'll see what
I'm
I
just
mean.
not seeing how that's
I
like
elaborate on what I
justifications.
mean, like based in what people must do, and you'll see. Like, I concretize that really well.
Okay.
Where are you at on those?
I'm just started 4.
Oh wow,
What? What do you mean? Slow?
I think
I'm taking.
Zetetic was still on paragraph 1.
I think 3 was good. I really liked the way you worded the sort of the part right there. I don't know if you
Which
can see
part?
my. I guess you can't see my highlights, but the in other words, if everyone is generally free to act, da 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 da, all the way up to the ownership claim, all the way up to the end of the. Well, I guess. Oh, I guess that's.
That's
Is
a
this all?
quote.
Is that all Kinsella's quote? Oh, okay.
No,
Well.
that's a quote from Digicey.
Oh, okay. Well, very good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm on 4.
I think you can remove the S on like the first line of paragraph 2. You say beginning with they just say let the exclusion stand principle, which equates property with its owners. You don't need to say owners there. You have to remove the S. It just makes it confusing. Equates it with the owner, excluding the right of any other to it. You write owners. That possessive.
Yeah, possessive. That's that's their action.
Okay.
Yeah, owner comma S is right. It's the owner's
It's not a
possessive.
comma.
It's
So
apostrophe. It's an
yeah.
apostrophe.
Apostrophe.
Yeah.
Should I remove the apostrophe S, you think?
No, I think
I think it
it's
works.
fine.
I think it works both ways. I think it works both ways. Sorry, I'm slow.
Maybe if I remove it might be stronger if I remove the apostrophe S.
Yeah, sure. Easier to follow, I think. for slow people like me.
Okay, I'll do it. Are you still in chapter? Are you still in paragraph 4?
Yeah, I'm in 4.
Maybe someone should be reading this aloud, bro.
I could read it
yeah.
out loud. I do not mind to read it out loud if that's what you would like.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
is that okay with you guys? Is that cool?
I mean, depends on where you're starting.
I'll start where you left off, Tedek. I don't mind reading.
Yeah, I've read the first sentence of paragraph 2.
Okay, I'll just start with 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably. How do you say his name? Dejase?
Did you say?
Dejase.
Just say, yeah.
Okay.
Like the as in Spanish, maybe.
Beginning with Dejase's let exclusion stand principle, which equates property with its owner, excluding the right of any other to it. Wherefore equated it to let ownership stand. Such exclusion, i.e. ownership, the separation of the owner from non-owners, as a matter of action, will always require one to take specific exclusionary action. That sentence seems kind of wordy, but I'm okay with it. If they could be replaced by any arbitrary substitute, then so too could one's ownership title. The same principle extends to every facet of ownership or exercising of your right. Should probably be of their rights. Same principle extends to every facet of ownership or exercising of their rights. Well, then you use you. So, yeah, I think
Yeah,
you should. Yeah,
I
just
use.
make sure. Yeah, you use you. I guess just make sure you're
Talking
using
like
the right.
AIs.
Yeah, just make sure you're using the right first person or third person. So you cannot homestead something by any arbitrary means. Only specific exclusionary actions will suffice. You cannot license someone to it by any arbitrary means. Deal with tortfeasors by any arbitrary means, nor transfer and or cede the title to it by any arbitrary means. Even then, only specific exclusionary actions will suffice. In other words, exclusion cannot stand on a word, a wish, or arbitrary decree. It is defined only by the incurred cost of exclusion. They just say, da 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 da. Those costs are not incidental. They are constitutive of what it even amounts to. Exclusion without cost could not be exclusionary at all. Yeah, I
And like
think that's
Zetetic, you should like come in whenever you want to discuss something, because I know you're slow.
Yeah.
I
Okay. I I should probably sleep. I don't know.
What time is it, bro? Don't fucking stay up until fucking 6 a.m. again.
I mean,
Yeah,
this isn't
that's
gonna take long.
yeah, I can go, All right.
okay.
What it means for the
I need
exclusion of
help,
others to
Mr.
stay
November.
what it means for the exclusion of others to stand here, just that. Whatever its grounds, the ground remains demonstrable. In ordinary physical language, standing implies that at each relevant step, there is something that can support it, bear its weight, and keep it upright. Nothing stands without the ground being right there under it. Present, demonstrable, and thus unequivocal at every relevant step. Let it stand is a normative phrase, but it is simply the fact of a standing distinction in the world. For without such standing, incompatible claims may simply be made on the same non-basis, where they can proliferate without constraint. Note that only the arbitrary is itself subject to such arbitrariness, or otherwise subject to interpretation. Conflicts would then be unavoidable. Of course, as Zulu notes, the borders of the homesteaded property must be objective. That is, they must adhere to existence as against the arbitrary content of one's consciousness. This is because subjective property borders might contradict. What this means is that an arbitrary system of property rights cannot avoid conflict. It would rather authorize them. Conflicts are simply unavoidable if nothing in the world differentiates the owner from non-owners for everyone involved. It is only the question of standing which will be decisive. Sell explains, they just say uses this idea to demolish the criticism that homesteading unowned resources unilaterally and unjustifiably imposes on others moral duties to refrain from interfering. He writes, the basic defense, however, is quite general and straightforward. It is that if a prospective owner can in fact perform it, taking first possession of a thing is a feasible act of his that is admissible if it is not a tort, in this case not trespass, and violates no right. But this is the case by definition, i.e. by the thing being identified as unknown. In other words, if everyone is generally free to act unless they are violating others' rights, there is simply no reason not to allow a person to appropriate unowned property. For who could object if not another prior owner? To be entitled to object is to be able to exclude the claimant, but the right to exclude is an incident of ownership, and the property is by presumption unknown. No one can validly object to my appropriating unowned property then, because assuming feasible actions are free, any objection itself must claim a right, and this itself raises a type of ownership claim. One well-known judicial and evidentiary maxim is quod gratis assertus gratis negatur, directly translates to what is asserted gratuitously is denied gratuitously. It eventually came to be popularized as Hitchens' razor, as coined by Christopher Hitchens, stating what can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence. The point is that where no basis is offered, there is simply no basis then to prefer one such arbitrary, baseless claim over another. As such, there can also be no basis then to prefer arbitrary over the non-arbitrary, the equivocal over the unequivocal. The latter thus stands by necessity against the arbitrary. So the positive implications here are what's really important for evidentiary reasoning. Indeed, it's what the use of the phrase prima facie or prima facie case is meant to imply in judicial context. Since the thing has no other owner, prima facie, no one is entitled to object to my controlling it in the exclusion of others. And this is really the essence of what it means for exclusion to stand. The exclusion of others may stand only when they have no such standing on their own. I think
Of their yeah.
I on their own. I think this is
Of their own, bro. Shit.
of their own. Did I say on their?
Yeah.
I said on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, of their own. Sorry, of their own. I think this is well. I like this paragraph. I think you should just in like parentheses, you should explain what prima facie means.
I mean, like anybody can Google it. Like,
Well, I mean,
I'm implying it.
right,
You
but
know?
I'm just saying if you're trying to write this into a paper, you might need to, there are words that you're using that you should, you might need to explain. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, prima facie is not that hard to understand.
I
But if I would write something else about that later on, probably when I get more into like evidentiary reasoning, if I do talk about arbitration in this paper, you know what I mean?
but you use the word in rem, which is against the thing. I didn't know what that meant. So
Right, but like
I get it.
it all come like into like
Okay.
like it'll all get integrated.
How long are you planning to make this?
I don't know.